It is a peculiar thing, recording the heroic deeds of adventurers from the relative safety of a palace desk. One begins to notice patterns. For example, when ordinary people survive an undead-infested graveyard, a perverse vampire with questionable fashion sense, and even death itself, yes, death, and somehow have the gall to return to civilization alive, they usually seek rest. They bathe, they eat. They perhaps spend several days staring blankly at a wall while reconsidering every life choice that led them into monster-haunted ruins in the first place. The merry misfits, naturally, examined the long-term benefits of rest, weighed them with all due wisdom and maturity, and discarded them at the earliest possible opportunity in favor of flinging themselves bodily into yet another crisis. I am told this is called adventuring. I am beginning to suspect it is a medical condition.
Harmony Gold, ever the girl who sees danger and thinks, scenery, let out a whistle and declared the ruined castle before them huge. Bardin Amberrock, as practical as ever, approached the guard at the entrance and asked after the day, as though greeting a man outside a tavern rather than before a monstrous death mouth erected by fate itself. The guard, with the weary manner of a man paid to explain bad policy to armed strangers, informed them that the monsters tended to stay inside. Anyone wishing to enter would need to pay 1,000 gamels per head. There were rumors, too, that those inside would be expelled at sunrise. 1,000 gamels per head for the privilege of being bitten, burned, cursed, mauled, or otherwise improved by violence. Bardin, naturally, questioned whether this was a reasonable price given the chance of death. The guard explained that the Baron had declared the fee, and he merely collected it from anyone not belonging to the Baron's retinue or hired mercenaries. Brenna de Lorraine admitted she had killed for less. Harmony attempted diplomacy, seeking compromise. The guard, regretfully, offered none, though he did helpfully mention a moneylender. Ah, yes. Nothing says public safety like predatory financing outside a monster dungeon. With much grumbling, some restraint, and one very visible tear of frustration from Brenna, the Misfits paid their toll. Bardin reminded Brenna to wait for the group before storming ahead. Harmony, still trying to see the good in things, insisted that if this helped the guild, then it was worth it. Adrian Vladovich sighed his way forward as well. Already tired from recent troubles, irritated by the heat, and deeply unimpressed that heroism apparently did not come with complimentary dungeon entry. Inside, the darkness swallowed them almost immediately. Adrian, who could see well enough, found the lack of light barely worth noting. Bardin also had little trouble. Harmony, however, being very much human and therefore tragically without built-in dungeon vision, lit a torch and complained.
Why is it so dark?
Bardin, with all the patience of a dwarf explaining gravity, informed her that no one was lighting the torches in here. Harmony, baffled by the obvious, asked why. Bardin then delivered a cruel but necessary truth.
There are no small, nice goblins whose purpose is to walk around dungeons lighting torches for adventurers.
Harmony clarified that this was precisely why she had been trying to light her own torch. After all, adventurer kits come with these things. One imagines the instruction manual simply reads, "Apply fire before monster." The torch revealed a large training room. Old equipment stood in the gloom, its age apparent even before anyone touched it. Windows to either side did not show the outside world, but rather swirling blackness, a deeply discouraging feature in any structure, and one that should immediately lower property value. Near the stairs stood a large chest. In front of it waited 2 black hounds, smoke curling from their mouths, their eyes glowing red. Because, of course, the first things the Misfits would encounter would be hellhounds. The moment the Misfits entered, the hounds attacked. They lunged first for Bardin and Harmony, perhaps sensing the dwarf's sturdy shape and Harmony's long history of being selected by fate, monsters, traps, and poor choices as the nearest available target. Bardin braced himself. Harmony, now armed with her new mass-produced saber, rallied the front line with her tactical command, strengthening her companions before stepping forward to strike. Unfortunately, the sword was new. The confidence was new. The habit of actually landing blows remained, sadly, in development. Harmony's attack went wide, prompting immediate distress. She had a cooler sword now. Surely cooler swords are meant to hit things. This is known to philosophers as the aesthetic combat fallacy. Bardin, meanwhile, answered the first hound's bite with a punishing blow from his steel blade, backhanding the beast with enough force to remind everyone that dwarves are not short because they are small. They are short because the earth compressed all that violence into a more efficient shape. Brenna, seeing the hounds rush past her toward others, was offended.
What? Am I not worth being attacked? I'm the predator here.
There are many reactions one might have to being ignored by demonic dogs. Hurt pride is, perhaps, not the first most would choose. Brenna has never been one to let ordinary emotional frameworks restrain her. Adrian, sighing as only Adrian can, wondered aloud whether they could ever have a relaxing mission. Then, while smiling in a manner that suggested he did not truly hate the violence as much as his words implied, he cut himself and coated his weapon in his own blood before striking. This is apparently a normal Adrian solution. One suspects his barbershop has very specific safety notices. The battle turned rough quickly. The hounds snapped and lunged, shifting from Harmony to Bardin and back again. Harmony continued calling commands, even upgrading her tactics into a stronger battle cry, Raging Flame, before withdrawing toward the rear, injured but still directing the fight. Bardin took the front with stubborn reliability, repeatedly informing the hounds not to bite him. The hounds, being evil hellhounds and thus not good boys, ignored the verbal contract. Brenna hacked into them with mounting fury. Adrian pressed the assault, frustrated by missed strikes, but no less eager to see the creatures fall. Harmony, despite bleeding from her own wounds, chose to heal Bardin from a distance rather than herself, praying to Harula and calling down divine restoration. Bardin thanked her, though he pointed out that she should have healed herself. Harmony, chewing life grass like an injured but principled rabbit, replied that it would be wrong to be selfish with Harula's gifts. This is very noble. Also very Harmony. Brenna disagreed with this philosophy in the traditional Brenna manner, by inspecting Harmony's wounds, making bandages herself, and all but declaring that if Harmony insisted on being bitten, she would at least be bitten with supervision. The final hound fell beneath Bardin's blade. He reminded the room that nice dogs do not bite him. Adrian concluded that perhaps they could be good dogs after all. Once dead, naturally. With the threat ended, the Misfits turned to the spoils. The hounds yielded useful hides, but the greater prize was the chest. Inside lay a finely made chain shirt, silver at first glance, but not silver. Mithril. Light, beautiful, and shimmering strangely in the torchlight. Harmony, naturally, called it pretty. Brenna, naturally, decided this was an excellent reason for Harmony to wear it, preferably before getting bitten again. Harmony protested that she already had armor, knocking on her mass-produced splint mail as proof. Brenna pinched her wounded arm and thigh in rebuttal. The argument ended in the most misfit way possible. Everyone more or less agreed Harmony should take the mithril chainmail because she was prone to getting into trouble. And Harmony, touched by the trust, hugged it to herself before attempting to change behind training equipment. Then came the problem. The mithril chain was light, yes, but also complicated. Far more complicated than any of them knew how to properly wear or adjust. After some struggling, Harmony peeked out from behind the equipment in her underclothes and admitted that she did not think it would work. Thus, the magnificent mithril armor, treasure of the dungeon, became, for the moment, backpack cargo. Bardin searched the rest of the training room, only to discover that most of the equipment collapsed into dust when touched. He asked if anyone was interested in dust. No one was. Then Harmony returned, now once again in her splint mail, and cheerfully offered to look around. For real this time, she insisted. She had learned some scout skills from a very nice grass runner she had met recently. The air changed. Brenna turned to her with hardened eyes. Harmony explained that the grass runner, possibly named Tass, or was it Tassel, was a registered 4th-rank adventurer, therefore surely trustworthy. Brenna did not share this conclusion. In her view, Harmony should bring any such person to her first, so Brenna could eat, that is, check them. The correction was not especially comforting. Harmony compared Brenna to the Archbishop back home, specifically when she had tried to help certain homeless people in the sewers. Bardin, to his credit, defended her. She had tried to get better. That, in its way, mattered. Brenna's reply was practical, protective, and terrifying. She could have been abducted. And there, beneath the comedy of torches, tolls, hellhounds, and unusable mithril, lay the thread that has begun to define these misfits more and more clearly. They bicker, they scold, they threaten tables, leashes, bandages, and possibly light cannibalism. They argue over tactics, money, armor, and whether dungeon goblins provide proper lighting services. But they are watching one another. Bardin stands where teeth will land. Brenna complains while binding wounds. Adrian sighs while stepping into danger. Harmony bleeds, commands, heals, and still tries to improve. Even when she frightens her companions with her optimism, which is often, they do not dismiss her. They worry. And for adventurers, worry is one of the gentler names for love.
And so, having survived graves, vampires, death, and the sort of spiritual exhaustion that would send wiser souls directly to bed, the Merry Misfits did what all sensible adventurers do. They paid 1,000 gamels apiece to enter another dungeon. I shall pause here to allow that sentence to damage the soul properly. Inside, they were greeted by darkness, hellhounds, painful biting, questionable torch logistics, and the discovery of mithril armor so marvelously crafted that no one present could determine how to wear the blessed thing. Naturally, this did not discourage them. If anything, it merely added armor incompetence to the growing list of obstacles the Misfits face with alarming cheer. Still, steel was drawn, wounds were mended, treasure was found. And Brenna, bless her terrifying heart, continued her noble campaign to ensure Harmony is not abducted, eaten, tricked, or educated by suspicious grass runners without prior inspection. A dungeon lies ahead, a party presses onward, and my headache endures. Until next time, keep your ledgers balanced, your swords sharp, and never underestimate a drake's natural desire to bite.